All right, we got something new today, something that I don't think any of you have done before, writing and reading from files. This is more real world because programs don't run in a vacuum. Programs work with other programs, and this is the first time that we've got that going on. Everything we did before in Visual Studios is, from the control panel or using the Visual Studio Editor. I mean, everything's been right there. Now we're going to be reaching into files, extracting data. We're going to be writing into files. All right, let's just jump right on into this because I want to get through 3 programs on today's video. The pound include, just something to revisit something from the first week of school. Pound include is a preprocessor directive. It tells the program, I need these header files to work. So IO stream is input output stream. F stream is file stream. Your certain files you need to work with the file stream. All right, using namespace. All right, first line, line 8 inside the program. F stream data file. F stream stands for file stream. Think of F stream just the same as you would when you're declaring an integer, when you're declaring a string, when you're declaring a double. You're declaring an F stream data file. Okay. As you look down through this, go ahead and glance down through this program. You see cout, cout, and cout. There's only 3 lines that cout. Cout outputs to your Visual Studio's editor screen. That's what we've been doing. We've been cout to a screen. All right. So when we run this program, we're only going to see 3 lines of code on that screen. We're going to see opening file. We're going to see now writing data to the file, and we're going to see done. 3 short little lines. What this program does is it's going to open a file. It's going to actually make a file, and then it's going to open it, and then it's going to output things to this file, and then it's going to close it. So definitely take notes on this. I got to be honest with you. I don't have all this cited to memory. I always have to glance at something when I'm opening and closing files. There's just so much that you can do with this. We're just going to skim the surface. So opening file, then data file dot open. It's going to create and open a file, demo file.txt. Right? It's going to just a basic notepad type file. Then the input output, it's going to be out. It's going to be output. We're not going to bring anything off of it. It's just going to be output. And this is the proper way to write it. This line's kind of important to take a note for. So now this created a file, demo file.txt. It set this up for us to output. The next line, line 12, is just going to be an editor. It's going to just go to the text editor. It's going to say, now writing data to the file. And it's not even the text editor. It's the screen. It's the output screen for Visual Studio. Now writing data to the file. Then it's going to data file Jones. That's the same thing as like a cout to a different file. It's going to cout Jones with an inline in that file. I'm not going to say that anymore. I'm not going to compare cout and data file, but it's an output. Data file is going to output Jones to a file. There's the new line character, so it's going to list them like a list. Jones in a column form. Jones, Smith, Willis, Davis, and then it's going to close. Guys, you always, when you open a file, you have to close it. All right, so we opened this demo file.txt. We said we're going to output to it. We output 4 things. Now we're closing it. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cout done to the Visual Studio screen. So here, let's run it. There's those 3 little lines that I said that we were going to have on this screen. And the next thing you have to do is go check your files. Since you all send me your .cpp file all the time, this won't be hard for you. You know how to find your file. I go to CIS 114. I'm going to go to file 1. I'm going to go under, I'm going to crack open the folder files one, and look right there. There's my file, demo file. That wasn't there 5 minutes ago. When I ran this program, it created and opened this file and hopefully put things inside of it. So I'm going to crack it open. And there you go. Demo file has Jones, Smith, Willis, and Davis in it. Because I closed it properly, that's almost the same thing as saying save everything you've done. All right, that was program 1. Here's program 2. Same thing up in the top, IOStream, FStream. Again, output file stream. Okay, this is different. This is output file stream, the OF stream data file. So it's an output stream. All right. A lot of things in common with the first file. Every time you see Cout, that's going to be on my Visual Studio screen. Every time you see data file and some errors, it's going to be putting something into the data file. So look, this is the same thing. Data file.open. We open demo file. Remember, this is a different demo file because this is going to be in the folder with file 2. Files 2. This is a whole different program. So this demo file is totally different. I just named it the same. Again, the iOS, which is input output, is out. Now writing to the file. That's identical to what we did the first time. All right, we're writing to the file. Data file Jones, Smith. Now we're closing the file. This is exactly what we did in the last program. All right. Something different happens now, though. We're opening the file again. We've closed the file. We're opening the file. Let me back up. We made the file here. We wrote to the file. We closed the file. Close the file there. Now we're opening it again. Same thing. You see data file.open, demo file.text, input, output, out. We got something new here. This straight up and down line, and then iOS : app. App stands for append. Append means put at the end. So what this is going to do, this is going to go to the very end of the file. This file, if you look at it, it's only got 2 things in it right now. It's got Jones and Smith, all right? And it's going to start after the new, we wrote a new line character. So basically the cursor inside of this file is setting on the next line after Smith, especially when we put append, and it's going to be writing more data to the file. They're going to output Willis, data file Davis. Now we're going to close the file. We're going to close it again, and done. So there's going to be a little bit more written to our screen here. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines of code, basically just saying when we're opening and closing files. But I hope you all see this. We opened a file, we wrote to it, we closed the file, then we opened the file again. We wrote 2 more things to it because we're appending it. And now we're closing the file. Another thing, when I say initially opening, C++ Visual Studio is actually making this file. There's no demo file before we run this, right? There's nothing out there. It's making a demo file. Now we're getting ready to run to it. So let's run this program. Like I said, looks like we got 7 lines of code just telling what's going on. And then we'll open the file that we created and wrote to. The file that we wrote to is going to have Jones, Smith, Willis, and Davis in it. All right, there it is, opening the file, now writing to the file, closing the file. Open the file, writing more data to the file, closing the file. Done. The only difference between these 2 iterations here of writing is to remember this first one created a file, and this one just opened, appended, and wrote to it. So let's check this out. It's under Files 2, Files 2, Demo File. There's the 4 names: Jones, Smith, Willis, and Davis. All right, we've got one last one that we're going to work with. Input, output. It's got the iOS stream, the F stream, the IOmanip, because I'm going to do some set width. I'm going to use the set width function, not function, the set width capability. I'm making a 2-dimensional array, rows, cols. Okay, I'm actually kind of hardwiring in the things. I'm using the curly brackets to assign values to the integer 2-dimensional array. So I'm putting in it these 9 numbers, declaring from an fstream outfiled table.txt. That's what I'm calling my file that I'm opening. All right, input, output. I am making it output. All right, got a 2-dimensional array here. I am going to outfile, which is the same thing as cout on inside the file. I'm going to do the set width of 1/8 to give it a nice gap. And then I'm going to cout each element in the inside the file. Okay. Remember, here's outfile indel. That's the same thing as like cout indel inside of that file. Right. So I created /opened a file. I got it ready for output, right? I outputted a table into it. I added this indel, so at the end of each row, I would hit indel and we'd start a new row. So it's going to be 3 rows of 3 columns. And then I closed the out file. And then just to show on my screen that all of this did happen and was successful, I would cout done on top of my Visual Studio monitor or screen. So let's run this. Done. So you can see how lightning fast it is. Let's go under the file. File 3. Bust open my file 3. There's my table. And there's my numbers. See how that the set width has made it the set width of 1/8. How everything's like perfectly aligned. Okay. One last thing I want to show you on this video before I get off here. It's next time we are going to be we're going to be getting into files. We're going to be making our own files, putting stuff in there manually, and then taking it out. So I just want to show you real quick. If you go down here in the search bar and hit Notepad, okay, you can put inside of the notepads, you can write anything you want. You can be integers. And that's what I'm doing right now. All right, I'm going to hit File, Save As. Default is TXT, and we'll stick with that. All right, I'm going to make this practice. And let's put this somewhere where you can check it real quick. See, I'm just going to put this right directly under my C drive. Not a great idea to do, but I'm going to do it. Nope, I don't have permission. I can't do that. Let's just put it under. I'm just going to put it under my documents. It's going to be practice txt. Hit save. Go under documents, go down under files, find practice. There's practice. Open it up, and there's the numbers I just saved. So that's all you do is go down, open up Notepad. Anything you put in there and save will be able to access by our programs, providing you put it in the location and remember where. In future videos, I'll show you how to access these. Right now, all you've seen is the system. I mean, Visual Studio's, the environment, make a file and put things in it. But we're going to be able to have files out there that we call on and use the information in it. I just wanted to show you about Notepad.